Hello, good evening and welcome back. There will be two more sessions for MedPure, and here we are going to talk about the clinical reprints and the mind maps. First we are going to talk about and discuss about the Indian clinical trial report on S-metoprolol. Well, the SMART trial, S-M metoprolol assessment in hypertension trial. Well, this is the full form of SMART. Now, the SMART trial, this is a consolidated report on 6 centers and 288 patients who participated in this trial. This was a randomized, double-blind, double-dummy, multicentric, parallel group comparative clinical trial on S-metoprolol 50 milligrams extended release versus racemic metoprolol 100 milligrams extended release in the treatment of hypertension. Well, this is not the mind map. Well, this is to summarize all the events, what is important for us, as well as I have drawn the mind maps for the same trial. So whatever is convenient, you need to pick up and you need to reproduce. Well, the objective of the SMART trial was to compare the efficacy, safety, and tolerability of S-metoprolol 50 milligrams versus metoprolol 100 ER in the treatment of hypertension. Well, as suggested in the previous slide, well, the method, it was a randomized, double dummy, double blind, parallel group comparative clinical trial on 288 patients. Well, 50 milligrams S-metoprolol was given to 128 patients, and metoprolol 100 milligrams was given to 132 patients. Blood pressure, heart rate readings were taken on every 7 days, and the period of study was 6 weeks. Well, the conclusion drawn was MedPure XL at half the dose is found to be equally effective in reducing the blood pressure as compared to the racemic metoprolol. S-metoprolol offered early responder rate than the racemic metoprolol. Responder rate in S-metoprolol was higher than in the racemic metoprolol in every visit from day 1 to day 28, with statistically between group difference on day 21. Well, there was a difference, marked difference on day 21 between the two groups. So now we are going to talk about it in detail. So you can see the S-metoprolol clinical trial report. You can see the S-metoprolol 50 milligrams was as effective as metoprolol 100 milligram in the treatment of hypertension. You can see the reduction in the systolic blood pressure. It is more or less the pink line represents the racemic metoprolol, whereas the black line, that is a complete with the blue dots, is your S-metoprolol. You can see that there was a fall which was present throughout the 6 weeks of treatment. Well, we go on to the next slide. Well, here we see the fall in the diastolic blood pressure. Well, again, it is following the same pattern. You can see the dark S-metoprolol line and the pink hash line, more or less similar. So over the 6 weeks, then you can see the reduction in the heart rate. Also, both lines are similar. Again, there was equivocal or statistically non-significant change between the two, and S-metoprolol at half the dose was reducing the heart rate to the similar difference as compared to your racemic metoprolol over the 6 weeks time. Then here is the most important fact which we need to discuss with the doctor in the chamber, and this talks about the responder rate in S-metoprolol 50 milligrams versus the racemic metoprolol treated group. So on day 21, what we notice is there is 71.9% responder rate as compared to 58.3% with the racemic in control of blood pressure. So we'll see on the next slide. Here are the responder rates, 71 as compared to 58. So higher responder rates were achieved earlier with S-metoprolol. Well, the rest you can see now at the day 42 or after 6 weeks, the responder rate is more or less similar, but early responder rate is noticed on day 21, with esmetoprolol. So this was an important finding of this trial. So 23 patients more have earlier control on their blood pressure when they took esmetoprolol compared to racemate metoprolol. Now, what is the importance of early high responder rates? Well, blood pressure response after just 1 month of treatment predicts events in survival. So, immediate responders had significant advantage for combined cardiac events, stroke, and the death. So, as we are aware that inability to control the blood pressure is in the trough hours is as well as throughout the day or throughout the course of treatment increases the morbidity and mortality rates, cardiovascular mortality and morbidity rates in patients with hypertension. So in order, if you achieve an immediate response with your medication, then definitely you are reducing the mortality in these patients who have history of hypertension. So this is the importance of early reduction or early responder rates. Well, the importance of early blood pressure reduction, there was a landmark value trial of 15,245 patients. Early blood pressure reduction proven to be a major determinant in reducing the cardiovascular mortality in high risk hypertensive patients. So actually you are reducing the risk of cardiovascular mortality in high risk hypertensive patients. And Metpure XL achieves early BP reduction in more number of patients as compared to metoprolol. So this was an article which was published in 2004 in the journal, in the Lancet. So this is endorsing the view that, and that is also proving that esmetoprolol at 21 days, once it is reducing the blood pressure and there is a better response and early blood pressure reduction response, it probably proves to suggest that it is a safe medication, it is an effective medication at half the dose,